Let's talk legacy. Legacy versus money. Now y'all talk about Floyd Mayweather and how his legacy will be tarnished. Well, I feel that his legacy is well intact right now, that if he was to retire without fighting Cotto, without fighting Pac-Man, without fighting Mosley, he still would be known as one of the greatest fighters that ever fought in the history of boxing. And that's just not by me. That's about millions of other critics and boxing experts around the world. I'm quite sure you've heard it from other people besides myself. So I'm not talking Spanish. I'm not talking Semitic or any other type of language. But what I'm trying to get to you guys to understand is you talk about fighters only fight for legacy and real fighters and not money, and money is just secondary. They fighting for legacy. Like some idiot told me, Manny fights for legacy, Floyd fights for money. So that kind of triggered this too, to say, okay, let me make this video. Alright, we all know about Joe Louis. Do you know about Jack Johnson? Do you know about Muhammad Ali? You know about Sugar Ray Robinson, the pound for pound best fighter in the world? These guys' legacies we'll hear about long while they're passed away. But these guys struggled when they were living. Struggled and went through hells that me and you could only imagine. And had to fight fights against other meager opponents and took losses to them, guys that they know they could have beat when they really wanted to retire from the sport. And they weren't fighting for legacy. They was fighting for money because they needed it. Because the boxing game back then was not set up to where you were allowed to have a piece of your end of the business. So when a fighter makes a lot of money and they put themselves in a position to where they market themselves to make a lot of money, you can't knock them. You think Shane Mosley is fighting because he wants legacy, or he's fighting because he's having a divorce right now and he needs to get some money? Money, buddy, is what's going on around here. If Manny Pacquiao was fighting for legacy, he would just take the 40% that Floyd Mayweather offered him when he said 60-40 and say, okay, this fight is for my legacy. I'll take 40%. 40% of a pay-per-view that's going to be worth over probably $170 million. I would take 40% of $170 million. So, yeah. If that was your cut, 40% is going to look pretty good in your pocket. So if you were fighting for legacy and not the money, that's what made the sense, right? Why not fight for the 40? You still making good money? No, because he's fighting for money. Just like everybody else. And at the end of the day, whatever you did in your career, it should match up. Floyd Mayweather beat the top fighters in each division. When Ricky Hatton fought him at 147 pounds, he was still the best fighter at 140 pounds, Ricky Hatton was. They had no other champion. Once he beat Ricky Hatton, he beat all four. When he came to 147, the best fighter was who? Zab Judah. And Carlos Boromir beat him. Where did Zab fall? Number 2. Why did he fall number 2? Is because he still had the IBF championship. Who did Antonio Margarito beat? During those times, he fought no one. He fought Carmen Cintron once. And this guy's tainted. Every victory he has is tainted. Because of the simple fact that he got caught cheating with dangerous objects on his hands. Oh, forget that. Dangerous objects on his hands that could have injured or killed someone. So, yeah, I'm glad Floyd didn't fight him. Hello, he might have been brain dead right now. Fighting a guy with illegal hand wraps. See, things happen for a reason. And that's probably why he's not getting the shot. He's trying to come back and, I want to get in, I'm changed, I'm going to get a new trainer, I'm going to go to the commission, and they trying to get Roach to vouch for him. I wouldn't vouch for a guy like that. He's still friends with the trainer who who wrapped his hands. He at the boxing event with him. If this guy was responsible for you being suspended and you ain't had nothing to do with it, you want to punch him in his face when you saw him. That's your career. He just cost you millions of dollars a fight that you can't make now. You gotta go to stacking beans up now, probably, for the rest of your life, fighting in the alleys in Mexico because of this guy, but you still buddy with him? That means you were in on it. You knew. And I'm out.